Do you think it's helped your comedy?
Absolutely. Don't you, Joe? Don't you think that it's the live experience, the excitement, the thrill of it, the showmanship, the moment. What I liked most about the rock and roll shows wasn't rockets or pageantry or lasers. It was if they were really fucking into it. If the band was into it, and you loved the band, and you were on the right drugs, and that excite, like you were saying, the passion. To be the guy in the front row in the homemade shirt, fucking losing their shit.
Oh my God!
I remember seeing Queen and a dude when they played the Bohemian Rhapsody. When they got to the solo, the guy next to us broke loose. You know, we were at the Oakland, indoor place, and it was that tour. They opened with, right? Like they opened with, and the spotlight hit Freddie. He's on the top of a staircase, and buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, right? And then they closed with it too. They actually did it again at the end, but they did Bohemian Rhapsody for their big encore. And when it got to the solo, the dude next to us fucking just
lost.
And my cousin and I became hysterical because he'd obviously waited. You know, this was it, baby. This was, like you said, next day at the school, you're like, fucking Queen. And no one said shredded in those days. Queen smoked it.
You went to school, your eyes were still red from the night before.
Oh, and tripping still.
And still tripping, and fucking people knew.
So, but that's what I wanted to know when I asked earlier. Like, when that guy comes out and they start playing, like, the top song right then, like, what is going through your brain? Like, are you even listening? Are you just so excited that you're just screaming?
Listen, when you go to a show,
when
I went to a show, I had a list in my mind that we're going to do.
Yeah.
You know, I had a list in my mind of what music they were going to do. And in my drug-induced fucking world, they were doing it for me.
Yeah.
It's like when you see that movie with Mikey Wahlberg, and he replaces the band.
Yeah, rock star.
The guy pulls him aside and says, listen, I don't even know if it's that movie. It's not about the girls getting off on you. It's the guys that are getting off on you. You know, in a way, a guy sucks you in. You're like, they're playing that for me. I need this fucking song to make it till next week. And when they played that song, Lee, you lose your fucking mind. You know, I mean, I would lose my mind.
It did make you want to be a performer, though, didn't it? I mean, watching rock stars was
But I'm going to tell you
way
what's
cooler.
crazy. You saw how retarded I was in that video. That was Joe Diaz. In 1983, I went to see somebody who changed my life. Did I like him? You want me to lie to you? I liked 3 or 4 of his songs. I thought he was very overrated.
Whoop,
and his name was Frank Sinatra.
Really?
And my friends had a... I'm from fucking Jersey.
I was gonna say.
So the last thing I want to hear is Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, right,
okay,
right.
Don't. Every party you go, to born on the USA, you gotta fucking say no, enough. Don't you have any Deep Purple, anything? You know, anything. I'll listen to anything. You know, so I grew up with Hoboken Italian people. The people who moved to North Bergen were the people who made it out of Hoboken. Italians. I made it with people
I'm sorry,
out
I kicked
of,
the camera right out of whack.
I made it. I grew up with people in North Bergen that had grown up, you know, to move to North Bergen, but they were originally from Hoboken.
Right.
So when you went to their house, what did you fucking hear?
Sinatra.
You know, when you
Over
they talked
and over
about
and over
dinner,
and
they
over,
talked about where you kids going to see tonight? The Eagles. Oh, I remember when I went to see Sinatra, $3.
Yeah.
You know, like you hit your parents up for money. Like my friends would go sit here so they know we're gonna go to concert. Money, $10. $10. Who are you going to see? Elvis? No, we're going to see Nazareth. I paid $2.50 to see Sinatra in a Hoboken fucking dance hall. You know, Jimmy Roselli. The stories were just...
Right.
So I didn't fucking... You know, I was into heavy metal and black music and all this shit. And all of a sudden my friends are like, let's go see Sinatra. And you got to dress up. That really pissed me off. Like that whole thing.
Yeah, you got to put a tie on.
But bro, let me tell you something. He did something that I never saw anybody do. With the wig... Didn't know the fucking lyrics to songs at the end. Had a projector telling him the words. He had something that I can't even fucking describe. He had this control. Cool as shit. Didn't give a fuck what the fuck you were thinking. I don't give a fuck what you're thinking. It's 8 o'clock, right? The show's supposed to start, but I'm on my second scotch.
Right.
And I need 4 of them. So sit tight. And he come out there like this fucking thing, and people... I didn't lose it, but when I saw him, I lost it a little bit. I was like, look at this motherfucking old fuck. Look at this fucking old fuck. Who does he think he is? Yeah. And then he just sucks you in. Lee, next thing you know, you're just looking at him like, what is he doing? And he's doing these songs that fucking got nothing to do with you. They got nothing to do with you. Love and birds and shit. The lyrics were terrible. I mean, you look at Sinatra's discography. He's got 3,000 fucking albums, right?
Oh yeah, he made a million records.
He made a million
part of
fucking records.
Part of his mania is that he made a million records.
Yeah, you know, and these songs are about what we have for lunch today. Manigot. Let's sing a song about Manigot. Manigot. He sang about Chicago. L.A. was his lady. New York, New York. All he needed was a fucking city. So some of that. But when I saw him, it changed me. And for a couple of years on stage, I tried to do that shit. Control him a little too much and turn and not say nothing. And I was trying to do Sinatra.
Right.
I was trying to fuck with him. Sinatra was the one that really showed me that there was something behind this thing. Now I started going to see people that I wouldn't go see.
Right.
After Sinatra, I went to see Syatt
Right.
at a small place, and she took me even deeper than Sinatra. Deeper. Is it a crime? Deep. She just took me, Lee. This black chick and a fucking thing. We paid $35 for the tickets. You had to have 3 drinks. She just killed it. So I learned that little thing. It's really interesting you were saying that about Chuck Berry. That's what reminded me about this because, listen, I grew up in the Palladium, which is San Francisco's Fillmore.
Yeah.
Maybe 900 seats.
Right.
Every seat is a good one. The place is crazy. If you ever saw a show in one of those places, I saw AC/DC, and I think Def Leppard opened for them. August 4th, 1980.
Right.
August 1st, 1980, after the singer died.
I was going to say, that's the new singer.
But I saw him the year before with Bon Scott opening for Ted. On Weekend Warriors. I mean, Ted was huge. And here's this fucking AC/DC opening up for Ted. And that's the first time I saw what Music Mania was in New York. You know, taking the bus over the city, and as soon as you got to Port Authority, everybody was talking about AC/DC. People had ghetto blasters playing Highway to Hell, and you're like, holy shit. Like, I just entered an AC/DC song, and the closer you get to the garden, people telling you tickets.
Right.
And they're talking, you know, and you're like, by the time you get there, Lee, you're so fucking excited.
And people walking by going, hash, acid,
Yeah,
hash,
acid. I got loose joints, I got single joints, big
single
fat
joints.
ones. Take a look at this show. Oh, my God. It's a different world, man.
And not very corporate, surprisingly. And even though it was our corporate world, there wasn't the amount of swag and merch, and there was no such thing as video, or, you know, like maybe if the band was high priced, they had video on stage, but most bands didn't still do that then. You know, like it was a whole other bag. Even Prince and Purple Rain, I remember, there was no video on stage. He had special effects and a dick that shot glitter and all that crap, and, or what was it, a guitar that shot water, and, you know. But it wasn't that. It was way more about, you know, like you say, the cult of doing that thing on the night.
Well, even if you watch a song, it remains the same. It's on
Right.
VH1 every 2 weeks.
Right.
And I always watch 2 or 3 songs. If you watch that video, they don't, there's nothing.
No.
It's them playing.
Yeah. They don't even have his backdrop.
There's some fucking smoke from time
Right,
to time.
that's it.
There's
Some
a
lighting.
laser beam.
Yeah.
But that's it. You know, later on, I went to see productions that were huge with fucking castles.
I think you can learn a lot from the old-time performers, like you're saying, like Sinatra. My father was, and my mother, I was going to say something so stupid, I'm going to say it anyway, were much older than me, and as they would be. Remember when you were little, your parents were 10, 12 years older than you? They went to school with them. They took me to see, when I was a little kid, Ella Fitzgerald with Count Basie, Patti Page and the Mills Brothers, Pearl Bailey and the Step Brothers, Jimmy Durante when I was really little. He died right after that, yeah. And that show, they had showgirls on stage, and a guy did a cakewalk with a top hat and tails right around the stage. It was a surround stage in San Carlos, California, Circle Star Theater. So you sat, and then the stage would start moving. The stage moved. That was, you know, and Sinatra played there a bunch of times. Everybody played there.